Not many people have heard of the psychological sci-fi horror Chaos Head, and most of the ones that do regard it with infamy. Because like many other people, my first introduction to the science adventure series was the Steins anime. Coming off of that, who would want to read about a delusional shut-in loser that obsesses over his anime figures while serial murders are happening all around him? And yet, at the same time, there are those that claim that Chaos Head is their favorite science adventure game because of that same delusional shut-in loser. Introducing Takumi Nishijo, a shy, timid, withdrawn high school kid that loves anime, plays MMOs, and basically lives in his room. It's just like me for real, literally. Now while I say that, please, for the love of God, do not self-insert here. Out of the ideal male role models, Takumi is quite possibly one of the worst ones out there. He views everyone around him with scorn and seeing average normal people as delinquents. He objectifies the girls around him and imagines them in erotic fantasies. He rejects the 3D world in favor of 2D anime women. He is a pathetic coward that can't hold up a casual conversation and would rather escape into the depths of eroge, MMO chat rooms, and 4chan message boards. Now, I'm not a doctor, but if you idolize this man's habits in any way, go get some help. Don't just go touch grass, go see a therapist. It's never too late, because unfortunately for this guy, Takumi is the ultimate shut-in otaku taken to the extreme. Really, I like to applaud Chaos Head for the bold choice to make Takumi the main character. He's quite unlikable, and it's a damn struggle dealing with him for the first few chapters. I don't fault readers for hating him, especially if it came off of Steins Okabe, or if you firmly believe that all main characters have to be morally upstanding, likable individuals. Newsflash, this isn't your typical self-insert heroic protagonist. Takumi embodies the word pathetic to the extreme, and that actually makes him the perfect character. In fact, he's exceptionally amazing. Yup. Chaos Head would not work without this pitiful sap. Being the delusional extremist he is, we get to see both his escapist fantasies and worst possible nightmares to create a very interesting and unique psychological experience in Chaos Head's main gimmick, the delusion trigger. Throughout the story, you can choose whether Takumi sees a positive or negative delusion. Positive triggers make him approach the situation from a more relaxed and optimistic perspective, while the negative triggers make him more pessimistic and paranoid. But no matter what option, delusions are very wild what-if imaginations, both in a good and in a bad way. For what is a normal instance of a home visit from Takumi's little sister can either turn into an affectionate emoto wanting to give her brother a big kiss or a bloody scene of her violently coughing blood. Or he stays in reality and accepts his fate. I do get a kick of how negative triggers take me on a wild ride of Takumi's paranoia-inspired misadventures. Meanwhile, choosing the positive delusion means I get a largely unasked for strip session. Really kills the mood and pacing, even if there's clever foreshadowing to the much larger mystery at hand. But honestly, I don't fault Chaos Head. It's unavoidable. The boy's about to break. With the oh-so-fun murders happening all around him, the unnerving feeling that everyone's out to get him, and Takumi being Takumi, I don't blame him for just being a little mentally deranged, questioning what's real and what's not real. And we all get to see that play out in full effect. Is this girl just being nice to me, or does she have some secret hidden agenda? I can say, that's not a delusion, that's just life, man. So with all the difficulties Takumi's facing, why not just avoid it? Why not just retreat into a schizo dream where my favorite anime waifu hugs and kisses me while providing comfort from the real world? It's easy to do, but is it worth the consequences? This is the personification of the weakness of Takumi's heart, and the world isn't gonna let him off easy. That said, all these psychotic delusions doesn't exactly feel horrifying from an audience perspective, because it's not for us. Chaos Head is absolutely dedicated on Takumi not having a good time. He vocalizes that unnerving dread, the intense paranoia, which then Chaos Head sets up for a dramatic delivery. What exactly is the gaze that is always watching him, always judging him? Whose eyes are those eyes? Is it other people? Is it God? Is it us? Or is it me telling you to subscribe to the channel? Anyway, the presentation is great, the scene direction is fantastic, the subtle background noise is effective, and the shot framing is sharp and powerful. Let's not also forget the stellar voice work from Hiroyuki Yoshino as Takumi. From the nervous stuttering in conversations, the rush urgency in Hispanic, and his outrageous outbursts, it's an extra level of authenticity to Takumi's character. And all of this is the result of Chaos Head mentally torturing the man, wondering whether or not he's next to be killed, or his anxiety kicking in when he has to talk to a person of the opposite sex equally has the same weight. Sure, I make fun of the poor sap, but I can't dismiss how viciously gritty and well nuanced this character is. to anyone who's experienced social anxiety will find Takumi's actions, thought process, and monologues just a bit relatable. The way he constantly looks at the ground, avoiding eye contact, the judgmental looks he feels from other people, and the self-loathing one has, subconsciously knowing that they are that type of person. There's even a scene where Takumi is given a golden chance to be something more, but rejects it because he's a coward, which ultimately leads to consequences and the continuous death spiral of regrets, self-hatred, and ultimately more negative thoughts. It's painful for him, especially as he keeps running into incidents and people that force him to confront those ugly truths. But at the same time, it's those same individuals that might provide him the necessary support to back him up, emotionally or through their giant futuristic weapons. Now, while Takumi's over here losing his mind in the A-plot, the story still proceeds with its serial murder investigation in the B-plot, and it's pretty engaging with a lot of interesting ideas. It combines the spirit of the old crusty detective investigates an underlying controversy with Chaos Head's usage of real-world science. That said, I suspect other enthusiasts might not find it as in-depth or thought-provoking, but as someone who finds such sci-fi technobabble going in one ear and out the other, I found it relatively making sense. Such thoughts make me question why I'm reading science adventure visual novels to begin with, instead of my normal, character-focused drama romances featuring cute anime girls. And yet, I'm still on board, because even despite the painfully slow first half, the whole story is the background framework for Takumi's personal journey. Don't get me wrong, the detective investigation does push the mystery narrative and the heroines are interesting in their own right, but they are supporting characters. As Takumi meets these girls, they all end up changing him in some way. He may find it awkward and bothersome, but when the alternative is facing down a stalking killer, I would say finding solace in them is one hell of a character development. And I don't think you'll find a better friend than one who's willing to pat you on the back as you throw up on the side of the road. Overall, the role of the heroines is to offer more background lore to the greater mystery and to provide more context. And that's the extent of their part. The new character routes added in Noah offered more into their backstories. However, I get the feeling that their routes are more surreal what-if experiments of what could possibly go wrong, rather than added individual character development. Some are unsettlingly tragic, others are uncomfortably unsatisfying, and one was just a weird chuny power trip. I don't understand that one. Chaos Head Noah at times feels like a mismatch of different genres: psychological tempo horror, investigative sci-fi mystery, supernatural chuny action, and even romance. To the point where jack of all trades means sacrificing focus into one genre. I'm looking at you, mystery, but it is how it is. If there's one thing I know Chaos Head Noah chose to focus on, it's Takumi and his character alone, and I can definitely say they did a great job. Now, one important note: if you do get the visual novel, I would highly recommend downloading the Committee of Zero patch for the game. Benefits include decensored content, translated CGs and backgrounds, subtitled videos, and most importantly, bug fixes. There's even a spoiler-free guide to all the routes on the website, to which I found very helpful to quickly navigate through all of the routes. And this is very important since the true route, the one that perfectly wraps up everything in a tight little bow, is locked behind the completion of every route. It's one hell of a struggle, but that true ending is worth fighting for, perfectly summarized as thematically well earned. I don't consider Chaos Head Noah to be a very easy recommendation. It's riddled with flaws everywhere, and Takumi alone just makes this an extremely hard sell to the average person. But I have a feeling that even as I continue to read more science adventure titles, Chaos Head will be my absolute favorite one. And Takumi, for as much as of a pathetic coward he is, will be the best written science adventure protagonist by far. Again, it's a bold move to make the first game in your series a deeply intimate and painful exploration of an ugly protagonist. But it's one I respect with so much goddamn praise. 4 out of 5 with a seal of recommendation. Now, if you enjoyed this video, check out my other science adventure videos over here, or something that might pique your interest over here. And just remember, if you read visual novels, you may be a little broken inside.